Everyone, how's it going? I'm Nikki with Green Sprout Living, and today I just wanted to sit here and chat with you a little bit. It's been about a year since we have started this YouTube channel, and it was going to be mainly about our homesteading, some preserving, our hiker adventures, and I have been putting a few videos, or I will be putting some videos out on the business side of Green Sprout Living, where we go out and we help install gardens, and I help mentor people to create gardens for their nutrition. So we just got back from the Homestead Life Conference that is hosted by Doug and Stacy, and that definitely lit a fire back underneath my husband and I to focus more on our homesteading. So it is getting very close to us finding another homestead. We have kind of narrowed down the places that we do and do not want to be. And I just wanted to kind of touch base and show you what we were able to accomplish on our 3/4 an acre in town, and how we have kind of mastered some of the homesteading skills, so that way whenever we get our forever homestead, we will already be ahead of the game. So come along with me as I share these 5 skills that we have learned so far. The first skill that we have mastered is education. So we have been homeschooling our kids for the past 6 years. It has not always been easy, I have to say that, and there is still trials to this day, but I would say that we have pretty well mastered that. I 100% enjoy homeschooling my girls, and I will do it for the remainder of their education until they move on to go to college, if that's what they choose to do. But at first, it wasn't easy, and I definitely suggest finding somebody that you know that has homeschooled for a long time that can ease all of those stresses. Like, you know, I was always told, oh, they need socialization, or they're going to be weird and awkward. They're going to be behind. They're not going to be near as educated. That is so false. My kids are social butterflies, and they well exceed standards for any kind of education. You know what your kids need. You parent them, and education is no different. So if you have the opportunity to homeschool your kids, it may take some sacrifice. You may have to go to part-time to be able to educate them, or whatever it may be for you. It's different for everyone. So this is one of the skills that I feel like we have mastered. The second skill is gardening. So I have been gardening for well over a decade, probably. We started gardening before we even thought about having an off-grid or a homesteading lifestyle. And I just did it because my family did it. My dad did it. My sisters did it. It's just something that we did around here. So I just thought, well, I'll grow a garden too. But I have had many mistakes and catastrophes in my garden. So just start somewhere. Get you somebody like me. I'm a gardener mentor. I can help answer any questions. I can help guide you through any kind of gardening questions, or guide you through your gardening experience. So find somebody that's really good at gardening and listen to them. Gardening is something that is constantly changing, and you're constantly learning. But I wasn't always this great. Like I have had so many mistakes, and I can remember my husband mowed my garden down because I just kind of lost interest and the weeds took over, and it was just almost unbearable for me to deal with. So he mowed it over, and after that I was like, it fueled my fire, and I was like, okay, I'm going to learn everything I can possibly learn about gardening. So I did. I read all the books. I went to workshops. I even took the Master Gardener course through our local extension. Just anything I could do to learn anything I could about gardening, and I've so far done pretty good at it. So I would say I still have some training to do. I still have some learning to do. I do not grow 100% of all of our food. I don't have a wheat field or anything like that, but I can grow quite a bit of our own food and herbs and things that we need. So that I feel like is a task that we have already mastered, and we can take that with us on our homestead and we can excel. So the third thing is preserving. So now that you have grown all this food, what are you going to do with it? Whenever we were starting to get really good at gardening, and we were starting to get a lot of things coming in, I had no idea what to do with all of this. I was very intimidated by canning. We did get a freezer, and I started freezing, but you know, that fills up so quickly that you need to learn to have other ways of preserving. I started with a water bath canner, and it was fine. I was able to do all of our tomato-based products with that, and I even tried green beans in it, which is a major no-no. You should never put green beans in a water bath canner, but I did. And then I walked outside and was messing in the garden, and then I came into an exploded mess in my kitchen. The pot went dry. The jars inside burst. I had a huge dent in the top of my lid. So, I mean, you got to learn something. You got to learn somehow. So this is what happened. And then I thought, okay, I need to learn how to do pressure canning, because I can't do everything with the water bath canner. And that made me so nervous. I was so scared. I thought it was like a bomb and it was going to blow up in my kitchen. So I made my husband go get a camping stove so I could do it outside. So at least if it blew up, it was outside and it wouldn't destroy my house. And I can remember the very first time I put all my jars in, did everything I was supposed to do, and then I turned the heat up and then it just kept spewing. And I was like, what is happening here? It's not coming up to pressure. I'm doing something wrong. I went over to my husband and he's like, it's fine. You'll figure it out. Wasn't worried at all. And then it dawned on me I didn't put the weighted gauge on. So just little mistakes like that. Everybody does it. But now it's no big deal. I've kind of got it figured out, and I even teach canning workshops here in my local community, so that way I can ease that. If I could have went to a canning workshop, I would have, because I was so insecure about it. So, but yeah, I feel like preserving now is one of those things. I do all kinds of preserving. I freeze, I can, I dehydrate, I vacuum seal. I have a few other methods that I'm going to be working on. But yeah, so preserving would be a task that we have pretty well accomplished and can take on with us to our homestead. So number 4 is water catchment. Now, we are in town, we're in a rural community, but we are still in town, city limits, so we cannot do water catchment here, of course. But we have the concept. My husband built me an 8x8 greenhouse. It's sitting here behind me, and we do water catchment from it. I water my garden, all of my gardens with it. I water all of my seedlings with it. Like I said, it's an 8x8, and we can fill up 4 55-gallon drums very, very quickly. So the process of it is pretty self-explanatory. The only thing that we'll have to hook up to it whenever we go off-grid would be the filtration system. So that I feel like we have mastered, and we have been using it for quite a while now. I get so much water, a lot of times we have to let the hoses down because it overflows the drums so quickly. So in my area, now if you're in an area that doesn't get a lot of rain, there may be something else that you need to do. But in the area that we're in, we get an adequate amount of rain that it can last us. So now we also, in the wintertime, we don't have it. So we'll have to have some sort of heating source to keep that water from freezing whenever we move off grid. I am fully secure that my husband can handle that. So last and final skill that we have pretty well mastered, or that we are implementing now, is protection and preparedness. I put this in one just because I kind of feel like they are pretty close to the same things. As far as preparedness, this is more like if you have a storm that takes out your electricity and you have no heat, or you have no way of cooking. Do you have alternative sources for that? If you fall and hurt yourself, and do you have enough provisions to take care of yourself? If you have a situation where everybody is sick and they make you stay in your house and all the shelves are empty. Sound familiar? If you have a situation like that, are you able to have everything that you need in your home that can last you for a month? That's some things that we work on and we are prepared for in case something like that happens. Like, do you have toiletries? Do you have first aid medicine? Do you have all of those things you need? If you use it daily or weekly, make sure you have 2 or 3 of those stocked up. It's not being a prepper, it's just being prepared. There's a difference. So we are definitely okay with that side of things, with being prepared for our homestead. So protection is definitely my husband's forte. He has been doing all of these methods long before we ever thought about doing any kind of homesteading. This is really important, especially nowadays. Can't really trust your neighbors anymore, unfortunately. Just little common sense things. I was always the one that was super trusting, like, oh, there's no bad guys out here. Just being paranoid. And now it's something that I am aware of, and it's very important, especially now that I have 2 little girls. I'm definitely on the more protective side, and definitely my husband is way more protective. So little things like making sure your doors and windows are locked at all times. My family laughs because when they come over, they're usually locked in. It's just a habit for us to lock the door when we walk inside, so it's just a good habit to form. Other things like making sure that your area is well lit. We have lights on all of the 4 corners of our house. We have security systems, like install a security system so if something is broken or your door is open, you can have an alarm. You can have cameras where you can see if you're in bed and you hear something, you can pull your phone up, you can see what it is, and then you can be prepared for any kind of intruder. Have a dog that barks whenever they hear something, that is on alert all the time. And there's other things too, like you can plant your landscaping so that way it detours people. There was a great speaker there at the homesteading conference about personal security. It was really good, informative. If you have a chance to go listen to anything like that, give you ideas. We follow the saying that this house is protected by the good Lord and a gun, because we absolutely do protect our house with a gun. I'm not saying to be Dirty Harry and go toting like a crazy person, but I am saying that you should be educated and well trained as far as if you are going to protect yourself, your family. With, again, you should definitely make sure that you have training so that way you're not going to hurt yourself or harm anybody that you care about. Those are the 5 skills that we have learned on our 3/4 of an acre homestead that we have learned while we're waiting to get onto our future off-grid homestead. So you can learn some things while you wait. I suggest it. Don't just stay idle and make a list of things that you want to do. Start checking them off. If you like this video and you want to see more of them, make sure you like and subscribe. And stick around, because on the next video, I'm going to talk about the 3 things that we still have to learn and that we are going to try to learn now and as we move on to our homestead. So thanks for watching. I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.